This is Gerald Brents with Coach Johnny Ringo of the Plano East Panthers, and Coach Ringo, 2 years in a row, a tough loss to the Arlington Colts. Crazy game. Went down to the wire. A 4-hour game and plus 100-degree heat. 49-42 loss over at Cravens Field. But it's a ton of positives coming out of the game.
There really were. In every facet of the game for us, offense, defense, and special teams, there were tremendous positives. They made a lot of plays. We made a lot of plays. They made mistakes. We made mistakes. But overall, it was a good first game other than the outcome, and a game that we felt like that we let get away from us. And we told our kids after the game Saturday that, and they kind of knew this going in, the type of team that Arlington had and how talented they were. And in the game last year, they were a young football team last year, returning 19 starters. And so we felt like really at every position, and this is a credit to our kids, and coaches may not sound this way, is that they might have been better at every position, just more talented. But for us to hang in there then with a team like that at their home stadium, opening game where you can have a lot of things go wrong, and then to play as well as we did in every facet of the game at times was very positive and very encouraging for us.
The wild games, of course, high school football, you see these games all the time now, these over the weekend, all these high-scoring games, the ball going back and forth, but just being in an overtime game, and it didn't go your way, but that's got to be an advantage, isn't it? Just to be in an overtime game and experience.
You're right. It really is, Coach. And I think the last time we won one of these close games was 2 years ago against MacArthur in the first round of the playoffs. And since that time, as you said, last year Arlington beat us in overtime, and then Flower Mound was a game that wasn't an overtime game, but we got beat in the last few seconds. And then of course, last Friday night, the same thing occurred. And so we've got to find a way at some point in time, and that's what we're working on, obviously, each day in and day out, is to be the team that comes out on top in those situations. You do learn a lot from it, and a lot of things that we can improve upon, a lot of things that obviously Arlington's going to look at and say we could do better as well. But when you match, people score for score, and you have the opportunity to win a game, and you're up 42-35 with 4 minutes left in the game, and then it just comes down to your offense making first downs, which we couldn't do. And then then they still have to drive 82 yards with not much time left on the clock. So you got to give them credit for making plays. But we saw a lot of good things from kids that were JV players for us last year. Our whole defensive line that starts were not on the varsity last year, and so had some young kids grow up right in front of us during that game, and that was encouraging to see.
And the big plays, the big plays all over the place the other night, more than I can even count. Ran a kickoff back for a touchdown, the long runs, the reverse that you ran for a touchdown. Just got to be encouraging.
Really, very much so. And that's last year we had a punt return for a touchdown and blocked a PAT attempt. This year we block a field goal attempt by them that we scoop and score. Kylan Higgins takes it back, and then have the kickoff return by Dante Taylor for a touchdown. And normally, I think I mentioned this last week, and you know this, when you have those things occur in a game for you, special teams wise, you don't lose the game. And so we did have a lot of big plays. The opposite of that, though, is that we gave up some big plays. We gave up some pass plays. In a coverage that was our day one install coverage. It shouldn't have happened, but we had some busts. We had some kids out with cramps at a different time, or one safety, and so it just there's a lot of different things in the course of the game. I think it always comes down to, Coach Brent, 5 or 6 plays to me. If you play those 5 or 6 plays differently, if we make an extra point here, we convert a 2-point conversion. We have a chance to kick the field goal before half. There's so many things. Now, when we say that it comes down to 5 or 6 plays, obviously there's a bunch of other plays. If you do differently during the course of the game, it may not come down to those. But to lose a game like we did, all we needed was one more point to be ahead at the regulation, or at least to force them to go for 2 there at the end. Is disappointing. But again, there are a lot of great things that we can take from this game, and as long as we grow and we become more disciplined as a team and we eliminate those mistakes, we'll be fine.
Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights.
We'll just take a look at some highlights here from last week's game against Arlington. His first play, we had Corey Bassett did a tremendous job in coverage, graded well effort-wise and assignment-wise. This is a ball that receiver gets by him, but he does a great job stripping the ball after the catch. And then I think we've got Dakota Smith on the recovery. So we had 3 takeaways during the course of the game. Problem is we had 3 turnovers as well. Trey Jones, last year we lost him in the Marcus game, first district game, to a torn ACL. Dad played in the NFL. Trey's one of our great speed guys, and you can see here on reverse, becomes very obvious. He's running off and leaving a very talented Arlington defense also that's got great speed. Interception here by Kylan Higgins. Great job. They hurt us with a couple of plays down the middle, just basically before vertical all streak, but interception there by Kai. Great athletic ability. And this gives you an indication of Corey Wesley as our quarterback, that what he can do, run or pass. They've got to do a great job containing him in the pocket. Otherwise, he can scramble for big yardage. And we check everything at the line of scrimmage. We'll have a play call, and you can see right here we will change things if needed based on what they give us defensively. And here's another example of Trey Jones, just the speed on the edge and what he can do, you know, getting out in front of folks. And great lick pass here by Dakota Smith, one of the safeties. It's a great job there. He's been injured a little bit with the neck, but I'm glad to see him back. And we got the same, I think, play here by Trey on the reverse again. It's worth watching twice. You can just see this is runaway speed here now. There's nobody even going to touch this guy. So always want to be careful not blocking behind the ball. You can see that's one of our receivers why he has his hands in the air, because that gets me really upset if they do that. So they know better. Again, example, this is a called quarterback draw here, and just splitting the defense. You can see the speed of Corey as well. So do have great speed on offensively at our skill positions. Chance to be dynamic and explosive, and hopefully that'll help us in weeks to come. Toby Obumseli, inside linebacker, had a really good game the other night. It's a good job there reading, and we read our keys. We have defensively, we'll do that all the time. We're in pretty good shape. Jackson Gary, JV quarterback last year, we made a low safety and starting on defense for us. Also their backup quarterback, but he gets a knockdown pass here. And anytime, that was incomplete, but anytime it's behind the line of scrimmage, we tell our guys to scoop and score. This here is just a kind of little a gotcha play, and the lineman lined up unbalanced, or tight end unbalanced formation, and they don't pick him up. Again, Toby Obumseli. I think this play here gives you a good example of our pursuit. If this is the one I'm thinking of, you can see on the quarterback keep, and just watch the guys in the picture, how many white hats or white jerseys we get there. That's what we want to see, is try to get all 11 to the ball from a pursuit grade standpoint. Big time fourth down play here by Jackson Gary, again at low safety. Puts in position to get the ball back. This is the play we thought were going to break the game open for us and put us in position to win the game with this kickoff return. They're trying to sky kick to our left, and we have a sideline return call to the right, and Dante does a good job getting back over to the right, splitting people. And this is the first kickoff return for a touchdown in quite some time at Plano East, so pretty exciting for us. You can see we got too many guys down the field. They can't do that. That's why we got a 15-yarder. That's why the flag's coming out now. So we've corrected that. Got to be a little bit smarter in those football situations.
Well, whether whether or not you won that game the other night, of course you didn't win it, but it was a dead heat. You were as good as they were. They were as good as you were.
Mm-hmm.
It goes went into overtime, but whether you win or lose, you got to roll it right back around. Thursday night, name and force, Coach Mark Elam, one of the best coaches around. We all know that. Used to be AD at Rockwall, a longtime coach, and now he's back in the coaching business. You know they're going to have a heck of a team. Right. Thursday night, Williams Stadium. Tell us all about it.
Well, they've much improved from last year. You know, they were 2-8 last year, and of course that was his first year in the program. And as you said, you know, great coach, North Mesquite, highly successful. Bill Bryant, the High School Hall of Honors, coaching there with him as an assistant coach. So he's got a great staff and really talented defensively. Great defensive line, some linebackers who pursue the ball well, very aggressive, and and they've gone from the old wing tee that he used to be, known for and run a bunch, to gone to a shotgun and one back and two back. Got some great skill kids coach, and so, they're vastly improved. And not to say they weren't good last year. I mean, they gave us fits last year at times running the football. And so, one thing we like about our team is that we feel better up with our front seven. We feel better about our run fits than what we did the other night, even though there were times that weren't great. But it'll be a tough test for us. Every non-district game, Keller the following week is not supposed to be as strong this year, but they beat Irving 52-7. So at this point, and we've told our kids this, we don't have an easy game. Of course, obviously we get an 8-5A, and so we try to approach it as we're playing, as if each week we're playing the number one team in the state. And obviously, if Allen continues to win, then at one point we will. But if we'll do that and play that way, then we feel like we'll be disciplined enough to eliminate mistakes, as I said earlier, that we'll put ourselves in position to win a game. And the other night we were in position. We were there. We just couldn't finish the deal. But there were a lot of positives to take from that. And as you well know, it's a long season, and you can't dwell on a loss too long or a win, for very long. You got to get ready for the next week, and we've got a tough opponent this Thursday night. Okay, so Plano East Panthers playing name and force at Williams Stadium at 7 o'clock on Thursday night over in Garland, and we'll see you next week.